it is officially that time in the NBA offseason where we are here for the first way too early 2025 Soggy Sports NBA mock draft. I know, we've all been waiting for it. The moment has finally arrived. Everybody can finally stop edging themselves and fully release, fully come. The time is here, okay? So it's going to be the first way too early 2025 NBA mock draft. And I mean, look, let's just get it out of the way. A lot of this is going to be changing in a few months to come, especially when college basketball starts. The 2024 way too early mock draft was completely different from my final mock draft. It just is how it's going to go. It's just how these things go. It's just fun to do, kind of dive into the draft class a little bit. And this draft class is so good, so talented from what I've seen already. And I can't wait to keep diving into it and learning about even more prospects and even talking to y'all about them. So yeah, let's just get right into this video. First things first, let's get this lottery out of the way. We're going to be using our trusty friend Tankathon to find out what the lottery order is, and let's just find out right now what it's gonna be. And boom, this is the order we're going with. Now, I mean, obviously this is not going to be the order or anything near it from what the actual lottery is going to be, but this is all we have to go off of. So if you don't like it, take it up with Tankathon, okay? And I'm so sorry, Brooklyn, for the fact that you're not getting the first overall pick in Detroit. You're just never getting it. Get over it. All right. But anyway, let's get into it. In the first overall pick, we have Chi-Town, the Chicago Bulls, and I have them selecting 6'9" Ace Bailey out of Rutgers. I know what a lot of you were thinking. A lot of you were like, what do you mean? That's not how you say Cooper Flag. Trust me, I like Cooper Flag. He's a great player, but from what I have seen before the season start, I think Ace Bailey has the higher upside. He is one of the most amazing athletes I have seen in an NBA draft, but on top of him being a great athlete, he can legitimately score from all three levels. He has a good handle. His two-way potential is just absurd, and he is 6'9". He has great size, so he has everything you want in an NBA prospect, and if he can efficiently score in the D1 level, I see no reason why Ace Bailey shouldn't go number one overall, despite how good Cooper Flag is probably going to be. And now second overall, we have the Charlotte Hornets, and now I have them selecting Cooper Flag. All of you can shut up, okay? I haven't picked. I didn't have him falling far, okay? And he is a 6'8" guy from Duke University. I don't think I have to tell you who Cooper Flag is. Everybody knows him. He's by far the headliner of this class, according to a lot of people. And he's just a very good three-level scorer. He can shoot the ball. His two-way potential is very high. I mean, he played with the Team USA team. He didn't play with them, but he practiced against them. And I just think overall he would fit with the Charlotte Hornets very well, because the Charlotte Hornets would now have a starting lineup that looks something like the LaMelo Ball, Brandon Miller, Coop, Miles Bridges, and Mark Williams. And I just think that overall is a very lengthy and very versatile starting five, very young as well, and they could really do and cause some problems if you were able to get that starting five. And hopefully in the future, if they're able to do that, they can legitimately become a real playoff team for the first time in what seems like decades at this point. And number three overall, we have the Detroit Pistons, once again not getting the first overall pick because they are the Detroit Pistons, selecting Trey Johnson out of Texas. He's a 6'6" small forward, and in my opinion, although I don't have him as my third best player in this draft class to say, I think he fits with Detroit very well. Detroit has more than enough elite athletes. That's all they have. They need someone that's going to be able to score and be a legit skilled guy, at least coming in skilled, and I think that's exactly what they'd be getting in Trey Johnson. He's a very good skilled scorer. He has two-way potential through the roof, and he gives them a very versatile player and a skilled player coming in, because lately they've been drafting guys like Azur Thompson and Ron Holland and guys like that, and Jalen Duren, and these are great athletes, great prospects. Don't get me wrong, I'm high on them as players, but I think they need more skill now. They need to start adding players that are going to come in less raw, maybe with lower ceilings, but still less raw, and going to be able to provide right away and really help the team out. And I think that's exactly what Trey Johnson would provide for them, and I think also he has star potential as well. And now fourth overall, we have the Brooklyn Nets selecting Igor Demon. He's 6'9" out of BYU. I'm so sorry if I butchered his name. I might have, but he has a cool last name if it's Demon. He might be a demon on the court. He could have a good nickname if he ends up being good, and I think he's gonna be pretty good. He has amazing length. I wouldn't be surprised if this dude's wingspan isn't 7'3". It is insane. He's a really good athlete as well. His two-way upside is unbelievable. He has very good body control for a 6'9" guy, and he's pretty quick as well. And I think if he can be an efficient three-point shooter, an efficient shooter in general, I think he could legitimately be one of the better two-way guys in the NBA one day, because his length is absurd and he's very quick. He's gonna be a steal and block machine probably, and I just think overall he's really gonna fit in the modern day NBA and could be an elite role player at minimum, like a Mikal Bridges type guy, maybe even more athletic than Mikal Bridges. if he does hit. I just think overall he would be a home run pick for Brooklyn. And on top of that, he's 6'9", so he could play power forward for them, which is by far their weakest position. So I just think overall he would be a great pick for them. And now number 5 overall, we have the Washington Wizards selecting Drake Powell, a 6'7" small forward / power forward out of North Carolina this year. And in my opinion, Drake Powell is one of my favorite players. He's going to be an absolute dog on the defensive end. He has crazy two-way potential. I know I'm sounding like a broken record at this point, but there's a lot of these guys like that. And just overall, he's a very, very good player. He's going to give them a very young and versatile player that they can move around a lot, which they like to see. They already have Bilal Coulibaly on the roster, who's kind of similar, just maybe not as good offensively projected-wise, but I think Drake Powell is a very similar player. I just think he's going to be better offensively. He's a very good athlete. He has very good size for what he does. He's very versatile, like I said, and I just think overall, the more versatility you can get in today's NBA, where you can have a guy switch 1 through 4, is extremely, extremely valuable, especially when you have guys like Alex Sarr on the roster, who you see to be the future of your team. Defensively, the Washington Wizards could become an absolute problem. Could you imagine a defensive trio of Bilal Coulibaly, Drake Powell, and Alex Sarr? That is going to be absurd, and hopefully they would work out and actually hit it, and I think it would make this roster so dangerous, especially on the defensive end right away. And now 6 overall, I have the Utah Jazz selecting Jalil Bethea. He's a 6'4" guard out of Miami. Probably butchered his name, I am sorry. But I think he would fit them pretty well. Now, yes, I know they have guys like Colin Sexton, they have guys like Clarkson, Bryce Sensabaugh, Keontae George. Like, they are very stacked at guard, even Isaiah Collier. Like, their guard situation is very stacked. But I would imagine the Jazz are probably trading Sexton, they're probably trading Jordan Clarkson, and they're going to need more depth once they do that, because they're probably going to start Isaiah Collier and Keontae George by the end of the year, or even Bryce Sensabaugh, but I'd imagine he won't start over him. So I think they're going to need another guard in there, and Bethea, I think, is good enough offensively to get picked here. I think he's very solid, and he's not a perfect fit for the Utah Jazz, but the Utah Jazz are young, extremely young at every single position, including backup spots, so it's very hard to find a spot where they desperately need anything in terms of a rookie. But I just think Bethea is good enough to be picked here. I think he would fit with them, and I think once they made all the moves and traded and blew things up, he would be able to find a role with this team, and I just think overall he could fit with them and what they want to do and what they like to have in shooting guards. And yeah, that's why I have him going number 6 overall to Utah. And moving to the 7th overall pick, we have the Portland Trailblazers selecting VJ Edgecombe, 6'5", out of Baylor. Now, Edgecombe is a great athlete. He's a 3-level scorer. He can shoot the hell out of the ball. His catch and shoot potential is very good, and that athleticism gives him two-way potential as well. And I think he would fit pretty well with them. Now, I know what you're thinking. Probably the last thing Portland needs is another elite athlete with guys like Shadion Sharp, Anfernee Simons, Scoot Henderson already on the roster. But, I mean, Edgecombe is a great athlete. I think he's pretty skilled as well, being an athlete, and a skilled athlete is a very, very hot commodity in the NBA. And I think you're building a pretty nice core, because, I mean, if you can have a core going forward of Anfernee Simons, Scoot Henderson, Shadion Sharp, DeAndre Ayton, Jeremy Grant, Donovan Clingan, and then also, like I said, VJ Edgecombe, I think it would be pretty solid, and they would really be building something and really have a identity of this roster being super athletic, fast-paced guys, and I think that they would have an identity and really would be able to build on something, and I just think overall he would be a very solid pick for them. And now 8th overall, we have the Toronto Raptors selecting Kamen Malušić. I butchered his name. I know I did. Don't comment it. I'm going to say it because everybody wants to comment it every time I butcher a name, but he is a 7'2" center out of Duke University, and in my opinion, he has a chance to not even get drafted this year. It depends on if he hits or not, but he had outstanding stints in NBA Africa. He played a little bit with South Sudan, even against Team USA. He didn't play much, but he was on the team. And overall, I think he has a lot of potential, like a crazy high upside for a center. He's a potential floor spacer. Now, obviously, he needs some work. He's from South Sudan. He's pretty raw, but he definitely shows potential in shooting, and he has potential to become a floor spacer as a 7'2" center, which is great. He's pretty good at body control. Like, when he takes contact pretty well and still finishes around the rim pretty well. He's a great rebounder. He's a pretty good shot blocker as well. I just think overall he would be a very good pick for the Toronto Raptors, where center is probably their biggest need, despite the fact that they already have another NBA Africa guy in one of the last picks in the draft this year in Orich Kamchi. Now, number 9 overall, we have the San Antonio Spurs selecting Liam McNeely. He's a 6'7", probably power forward for the UConn Huskies this year. He's a legitimate 3-level scorer. He was Cooper Flagg's teammate in high school. He has very good size, very good two-way potential. He might be a little slow on the feet, but I think overall he's a pretty high IQ player. Pretty good. He can shoot from everywhere, and being 6'7" and being able to play defense and shoot from everywhere, that's a pretty good guy to have on your roster. And San Antonio likes these lengthy guys that are pretty good on the rotation and can play defense. They can rotate throughout the entire team. They can play multiple positions, and that's exactly what Liam McNeely can do. I think him, Wembanyama, Stephon Castle, and Devin Vassell, he would fit with that young core as well. I just think overall he fits what the San Antonio Spurs want to do, and is just a very solid pick at number 9 overall. And then 10th overall, we're not going anywhere. We're staying with the San Antonio Spurs because they're using the Atlanta Hawks pick that they have to select Donnie Freeman, another very lengthy, very good, but better athlete, 6'9" out of Syracuse. He has great size. He has very good skills for his size. His two-way potential, once again, through the roof, and he just fits with what the Spurs want. These lengthy guys who can switch everything, very skilled. And if you have a 6'9" Donnie Freeman coming off the bench as your power forward, as an absolute beast on the defensive end that can also spread the floor and do things on offense with Victor Wembanyama, Liam McNeely, Stephon Castle, and Devin Vassell, you're getting something, and you're really, really cooking, in my opinion. And I think that they have a chance to really do something special right there, and I think it would fit them perfectly, and the Spurs would be becoming one of the most versatile rosters in the entire NBA. And coming down the home stretch, we have the 11th overall pick, and shockingly enough, who would have thought, we have the Oklahoma City Thunder using the Houston's pick in the lottery. Somehow, some way, they will always find themselves here, selecting Noah Essange, I'm so sorry, 6'10" out of France. He's very solid. France is just producing so many good prospects, and they're going to be an absolute problem in the Olympics, especially in 2028 and going longer, because Jesus Christ, they're producing some high level talent, and Noah is no different, because I mean, he is, although not a amazingly polished 6'10" guy that has skill, his potential is still through the roof. He can shoot the hell out of the ball. He's very solid in pretty much every aspect of the game. He's not great at really anything, but he's just very talented for his size. It's also their thinnest position, backup power forward. The Thunder are basically not thin at any position, but if there was a position where they wanted a better backup, it would probably be power forward, and I think this is what he's going to be able to fill. He would be able to play with them. He would fit better with Chet than I think the other Jalen Williams does, the backup one. So I just think for sure OKC would be getting a very solid player in Noah, and overall it would fit them well, and be getting another rotational guy once again to make them even better than they already are. And 12th overall, we have the Sacramento Kings selecting Josan Sanan. He is a 6'6" guy out of Arizona State. I don't have to say it anymore. I butchered his name, but he is a 3-level scorer, very high potential. Defensively, probably needs some work. He's one of those guys that could also very much find himself not even getting drafted this year if he doesn't work out. But I saw enough from him in high school. I think he's going to be pretty solid. I think he's going to be a good 3-level scorer. He might not be a superstar or anything, but I do think I love his mentality. I like the way he plays. He plays hard. He has a mid-range game. He can shoot the three. He can create his own shot from basically anywhere, and I really like that out of a 6'6" guy. And I just think overall he's going to be very good this year, and it's probably going to be a guy that will go in the lottery. And I think the Sacramento Kings, having a backup small forward like him, would go a very long way. And now the second to last pick in this lottery is going to be the Los Angeles Clippers, and I have them selecting Hugo Gonzalez, a 6'6" guy. He has a great two-way potential. He's already an amazing defender. For some reason, these overseas guys this year are just unbelievable on defense. He's a pretty good athlete. He's not as fast as some of the prior guys I've said, but he's still a great defender, pretty good length, and at worst you're going to be getting an elite defensive prospect, like almost Dyson Daniels level of defense, and then hopefully he can develop that offensive side. I think with the 13th overall pick, that's more than a good enough swing to take at this point in the draft. And the final pick in this draft, I have the New Orleans Pelicans selecting Zvonimir Ivicic, 7'3", out of Arkansas. He was with Kentucky last year, but then their coach obviously went to Arkansas, so he transferred with them. And although I wasn't his biggest fan in his freshman year, I went back, looked at his tape. I was like, I wouldn't draft him yet, but I could definitely see him becoming an extremely good player down the line. And I wouldn't be surprised if this is the year he really puts it together and becomes an elite prospect. And I mean, he fills by far the Pelicans' biggest need, because I don't think Ves Missy is going to be it. He's a very skilled big with extremely high potential, so there's a very high chance that Ivicic puts it together this year. Looks like a beast that everybody thought he was going to be last year, and hopefully he can really prove me wrong, because last year I wasn't his biggest fan, but this year I definitely see the potential in him, and I think he could definitely hit it with a new scenery and everything like that. So I definitely think he could potentially be a lottery guy, and if the Pelicans have a chance to pick him, they should 100% pull the trigger. But unfortunately, guys, that's my first video. So comment below, do you agree with me? Do you think this is a good lottery? What have you done differently? What guys did I leave out that you would have used? Want your thoughts in the comment section below. If you'd like to point to like button, subscribe button, and the absolute word to me, and I hope you have a blessed day, because I had a blessed day, so you need a blessed day. All glory to God. See you in the next video. Goodbye. Boo. Blah, blah.